Welcome to the Olamide Lawal Show. Olamide Lawal Show helps people reduce tension in their private, professional, and public lives through his products and services. In this edition of podcast, you shall be informed, inspired, and transformed. If you have any question for Olamide Lawal, send a message to admin@lawalolamide.com. For amazing resources by Olamide Lawal, visit our website at olamidelawal.com.
Okay.
Work-life balance has become a central discussion across modern societies. Being able to manage all dimensions of our lives requires certain skills, which some people call life tools. However, getting those tools are important, but they are not as important as sustaining the right orientation. With me today is Dr. Mrs. Kikelo Mombada. She is a lecturer at the Department of Political Science, Obafemi Awolowo University. She is a wife, a mother, and a career woman. On today's podcast, she's going to share her thoughts on work-life balance. Good to have you here, ma. The first question for you, ma, is what is work-life balance?
Okay. Thank you, Olamide, for this opportunity. I consider this topic of utmost importance, particularly at this time of our lives where things seem to be running at an incredible and unprecedented speed. Life is getting, allow me to use the word, crazier and busier every day. And the need for a topic like this. I'll go straight to your first question. In my opinion and by my experience, I will define work-life balance as that which refers to the imperative to live in a way that neither your work nor personal life overwhelms or undermines the other. Thereby, you are able to thrive. I consider that balance as the outcome of being able to effectively receive nourishment, which necessarily is not food, nourishment that allows you to meet or enables you to meet the demands of a productive life, and at the same time, achieving relative health in individual, family, and social life. So for me, what is key is there is work-life balance because we assume that progress is imperative, progress is crucial. And because progress is crucial, you want to be sure that you're working, which I consider as expressions. You are giving expressions of the things you have taken in. Okay, this is what I mean. You would have to nourish so that you are able to give out, which is express. So for me, family life for me is like nourishing yourself so that you are able or enabled to give out what you are, what family makes of you. So my definition of work-life balance is thrive. You are able to thrive in both aspects of life. Yes, sir.
Wow, that's very wholesome. Now, work is an essential part of human development. It is a sign of responsibility to support oneself and with loved ones. People start working before they get married to raise a family. But as people progress, managing family with work becomes demanding. Even people that are sincere find themselves in this circle. What do you think is the cause of this?
As human beings, something key I may have left off in the questions, we are designed to be generalists. By this I mean we naturally should multitask. You know, God gave us the eyes, the ears, the mouth, the body to sleep, whatever. We should multitask as a way of living. And of course, if we will be progressive beings. So, in all of these, we can put all the many things we do into two categories, work and life. But these two must happen in a symbiotic relationship. That was what I was talking about, thriving.
Wow.
That one services the other.
Okay.
You are working so that what you earn is able to service family life or life balance, life rather, and life whatever nourishment, comfort, encouragement, whatever you get from there is also able to service your ability to be effective at work. So when we talk about his work as important as people are laying, emphasis on it, maybe we should be asking why this has become necessary, because there is no costless cost, like they say.
Mm-hmm.
So if people are putting, premium on work, we want to ask, what is our economy like? Maybe life is getting increasingly predictable. If 1 + 1 will not be 2, then probably you want to do 1 + 8, so that if you are not getting 2, maybe to earn you 1.5. So I think it's rational for any being to embrace work, because like I said, if one aspect suffers, it's just a matter of time. It will affect the other aspects. So I'm thinking, for instance, if a man is working and people are saying, oh, you are putting too much time to work, won't you get married? Won't you get married? Or he's trying to search for a job and insisting he will not get married until he gets a job. If you pressurize him into getting married, of course he will enjoy the comfort of having a wife. But a time will come when the demands of servicing his family will make him unhappy. He wanted to be happy getting married. But like I said, if you make one suffer, it's just a matter of time. It will undermine the other. So that man who supposedly should be happy having a wife will become sad again because he has a wife he cannot cater for. So that's the point we are making, that work is important. It's just because our context, like I'd say, is increasingly predictable. People should embrace work and diligence. However, they should hold dear the value of investing in relationships again, because this sustains us when the chips are down and when we are able, to get the facilitation for greater achievements when we embrace family life. Thank you.
Oh, wow, that's so wonderful, ma. Now, there was a story of a woman I heard. She was a very successful woman that went to different countries for business. But then the children were growing up, but she was not really there for the children. She was so passionate about work. And, it's something that is so commendable. But she was not present in the life of her children. And we know influence reduces with distance. When the time now came for her to be cared for by her children, the children also distanced themselves from her, not wanting to do anything with her because she never had that influence with them. So to them, they are strangers. Many sustain the orientation that places family over work and vice versa, just like you explained. How do we maintain balance?
I would answer this way. If you would have to maintain balance, because like we've established, both aspects are key. You have to be organized and disciplined. If you are not organized, you will lose speed, and a key temptation in your life will be confusion. On the other hand, if one is not disciplined, then a lot of deliverables will suffer. I mean, people's expectations of you, your job expectations of you will suffer. But the lack of both, that's if one does not have ability to be organized and then to be disciplined, that individual would live an anxious and depressed life. This is how it works. When you're unable to deliver on expectations, are you with me, Olamide?
I'm with you, ma'am.
You get anxious because people will ask. Again, if you fail to deliver, you get depressed. But at times you deliver, but it's not top-notch quality. And you're also not happy with yourself because you're capable of doing better. So when you're not organized and disciplined, you're unable to balance, you're unable to thrive. I have improved a lot in recent times as I embraced working with, I call it this to-do list. When I wake up in the morning, I quickly write, this is what I will do, this is what I will do, and I number them. And I number them in their order of priority. I asterisk the ones I consider major. So through my day, by the time it's noon, I'm looking, Kike, how many things have you done today? Where are you on the list? And don't get me wrong, this list is a combination, is always a combination of both aspects. You will even see things like bathe my kids. You could even see things like buy milk.
Wow.
You know, you could see things like teaching Amaka reading skills. You know, and you also see things like literature review on this manuscript. So yeah, this is how it works for me. But beyond keeping a to-do list, I also try to keep myself accountable, and this has increasingly worked for me. So what I do is I tell somebody, I have a paper I want to submit next week.
Okay.
So I tell somebody, maybe a colleague, I say, but on Friday, please, I'd like to send you a draft of a paper. I'll be sending a draft that I want you to just look through for me. The implication is I have to send that draft on Friday because I had made a promise to a colleague. So by the time I run to fulfill that task on Friday, then it's natural that by Monday when I have to submit, it's ready.
Wow.
Yes, so you are able to keep yourself accountable. You want people to ask you questions. You know, you want people to ask you, to keep you in check, because at times we just run, particularly when there are things we are enjoying. We seem to forget time and our environment. We forget loved ones. We forget. In fact, it's not even working and forgetting loved ones. You could enjoy movies, enjoy family life, and forget to do your work.
That's true.
So yes, so if you're able to work with a to-do list, you're able to keep yourself accountable, then I think you will be able to live an organized and disciplined life, and that allows you to be balanced.
Wow, that's so wonderful, man. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg shared how he finds peace despite the business empire he has built. So let's listen to what he said. He said that I spend most of my time thinking about how to connect the work and serve our community better. But a lot of that time isn't in our office or meeting with people or doing what you call real work. I take a lot of time just to read and think about things myself. So now we all understand that having time for oneself is an essential part in the process of being useful for family and work. How do you create time for self rejuvenation?
I like this question. Like I said, you cannot overemphasize the importance of self-rejuvenation, which in my own words I call nourishment.
Wow.
If you continue to express and give, and you're not pouring in, then you'll empty out. I have a senior friend who would say, if you don't find time to rest, then you'll be late to rest. Rest necessarily may not mean sleep.
Yeah.
It may not mean sleep. It's just whatever nourishes you. If it's sleep, if it's reading more, you know, at an easier pace, what you enjoy that is outside work, it could be anything. But for me, it's not been the story of my life before now, and so I have suffered anxiety, like I said, and temptations to feel depressed when I don't deliver on quality. I'm confused and trying to haggle children, haggle husband, haggle work, haggle. You know what is typical of the life of a woman who has children, a married woman. So it's not been like that. For me, I had tried to exact myself on all ends without finding time to rejuvenate. So with time, I must confess that I had enjoyed people and not myself until recently. You know, when I got talking with, would you allow me to say, a coach?
Okay, ma'am.
And she was taking me through, you know, what the requirements of having, you know, a life that thrives, a balanced life. And we saw it clearly that I had energies and capacities to deliver even more. But because I was not aligned for self-rejuvenation, then I was not able, you know, to reach that threshold to do more. Yes. So now I'm giving time. I'm prioritizing rest. I'm prioritizing time for hobbies, pastimes. I'm doing that.
Wow, that's so awesome, man. Now, have you at times your work was taking you away from your family? What did you do?
I have had time when work took me away from my family. Yes. In fact, I've had times where, a number of times where I had traveled out of the country without my family for a whole month, several times. Each trip taking not less than a month. But maybe it's just about the wiring of women. I was not comfortable, I must confess. Maybe my beliefs also didn't leave me comfortable. I was making progress, learning new things, enjoying myself. However, I wasn't I didn't have that 100% assurance that my children were going to be well taken care of. I felt my husband would be really, how will I put it now? He will be stressed by, taking care of the kids, which was not his normal, So I wasn't very comfortable. But after that period, when I experienced the stress, the mental stress for me, and the physical stress for him, my husband, I decided to adjust. And I was not going to embrace every opportunity after that time. So I was quick to remind myself about what was important, and so I adjusted. This meant that my work had to suffer a little. But I learned that balance necessarily does not mean 50-50.
50-50.
Say work must be fine and family must be fine. You must understand your season. If you're a woman who is 50, it's almost predictable that your children are all graduates and perhaps married.
That's true.
You can fly everywhere. Your husband could fly everywhere because maybe he too is retired with you. But as a woman who has growing children, one is 2, one is 4, one is 8. I mean, people who cannot be independent of you. Then maybe you cannot give 100% at work, and you should not feel guilty about that. You give your best, but your best cannot be 100%, because again, there are other things that are legitimate depending on you. Your children will not wait for you until you retire to say, come and grow us.
That's true.
And your work will not wait for you.
Yeah.
So it's the ability to do the best you can, but deliberately providing time for the things that matters. Thank you.
Wow, that's so awesome, man. Yeah, I understand that there are times we fall short of expectations due to pressure. What do you do when you fall short of expectations?
Thank you for that question. Before now, I used to be anxious, and I had temptations to feel guilty or depressed.
Okay.
But now, I know better. I know better because I've had time to reevaluate and re-examine my life. And I know that guilt and depression are thieves of time and opportunity. So when you wallow, you're sorry for yourself, you keep looking at the things that are lost, time just goes and opportunity passes you. So what I do now is I put failures behind. But I don't do this without first assessing the situation to know why I failed, and now what I must do differently so that I don't fail again. For instance, for me, I know that I have to delegate more. I have this tendency to be a perfectionist, so I would want to do everything by myself, and time is limited. My energies are limited, so I find myself fail at times. But now I have learned, the virtue of delegating. And also, after forging ahead, I'm able to do this because I'm a keen believer in the grace of Jesus. Don't let me bring.
It is. Faith is also part of our
my belief
life.
into this, but for me,
Yes,
this is so fundamental.
Yes, ma'am.
It keeps me running. It tells me there is hope It tells me there is another chance. It tells me I can have supernatural strength to do the things ordinarily I cannot do. Yeah.
Wow, that's so good, man. Now, the question I want to ask you, though it seems to be that you have already answered it, but then I would like to ask it so that you can answer it in specific terms. And how do you manage people's expectations? You know, children there are certain things that they expect from you, your work. There are some certain things that they expect, including your husband and so many people around you. How do you manage people's expectations of you?
Thank you, Lamidi. Please allow me to ask this question differently.
Okay,
maybe, perhaps the important question here is, what is rational? Because if you ask, how do I manage people's expectations? Look at how it is. It is people's expectations, but it is your life.
I like that.
It is people's expectations, and you're going to burn your time, which is your life, trying to fulfill people's expectations. But remember, you're not a person without goals or a vision. So if you live your life for people, by the time you get to the verge of just getting into your grave, you would have fulfilled people's goals and expectations and not yours.
That's true.
And we must not forget that humans are basically selfish and in pursuit, each man of his own interests. So if you live your life solely based on the expectations of men, you'll be doing yourself a disfavor. However, because we are involved with men, then we owe them the fulfillment of some expectations. For instance, if you are signed up to work in an organization, you must deliver on the job requirements.
That's true.
So you owe your boss or your organization that expectation. However, of course, you're not spending the whole of your life on the job. That's why it's crazy if you have to work from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, no matter what. Yes, so if you decide to be a mother, then you should be prepared to make time to cater for your children. However, in all of these, you must learn to major on the major and minor on the minor. So what are the expectations? It's major when it's in tandem with your own goals. But it becomes minor, something I can do when I've done what is important, if it's not in tandem with your immediate goals. But good for living anyway. So you want to ask, what is major and what is minor? And this you can determine by knowing exactly, clearly what your visions are and what the goals, associated goals are. Again, finally, you must learn to say no. That's one thing, unfortunately, I did not learn until maybe a year ago. You can imagine.
Wow.
You know, because naturally my heart is just liberal, you know, and generous, and it's part of the things, like I said, had caused me to just wear out.
Wow.
Trying to do everything, meet everybody's expectations, blah, 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 blah. What that leaves you at is you do everything, but you are not best at anything. So you must learn to say no when you have to say no. Because time is not infinite and your energies are not limitless.
Wow. So I would say that in the words of Stephen Covey, he said, keeping the main thing the main thing. That's awesome. So on a final note, David Taylor Claus says, your business and your life are happening at the same time. Don't separate them, integrate them. What are the lessons you have learned that you are willing to pass on to others to help them?
Thank you for this question. I would like to say be indispensable as you deliberately commit to growth within your sphere. Give your work its best, the best of the best. Make yourself indispensable because you're giving to deliberate growth. You're taking in, you're nourishing yourself, and so you're able to find expression. But again, be sincerely, that's my underlying word, be sincerely interested and involved with people, because no man is an island.
That's true.
we would remember that two are always better than one, because if you fall, like the Bible says, there will be one to lift you. Yes.
Wow. So one of the important things that I have learned from our conversation this afternoon is that word thrive. To thrive in family life, to thrive in our personal life, to thrive in our career, to thrive in every area of our lives. So I so much appreciate this conversation on our podcast today, and I really want to say thank you very much, man, for being here. Thank you very much, man.
My pleasure always. Thank you, Olamide. It was good being here with you.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, man.
Thank you for listening to this edition of our podcast. For more information on Olamide Lawal, visit our website at lawalolamide.com or call our number 081 05 50 0442.